What's up, what's up, what's up? It's DJ Mace.
And Denis Mears.
Catch us on the next episode of Straight Facts.
Brought to you by BIA Media and Currency ENT.
Straight Facts. Back at it again. You already know Sosa in the cut.
Mighty Fresh, we're back at it again here.
And today we have DJ Mace in the building.
What's going on?
Thanks for having me.
I think we're meeting for the first time.
That's it, man. Don't say it too loud now. So tell us about your background, your upbringing, and your introduction to the world of music there.
Wow. Okay. For me, it was my cousin Mike Marshall got me into DJing. I can't even tell you how far, but I was 12. No, I was probably about 11 years old when I first started fooling around with turntables and stuff. But he was a DJ in Toronto at the time. His crew was called Mix Masters. So wherever he went, I went.
Yeah.
Right. And back then, it was a lot of house music and freestyle music and hip hop. So I just felt like immediately my dad was a musician as well too, so records were always in the house. Mm-hmm. But when I saw the turntables for the first time and saw the party rocking, I was immediately hooked.
So could we say that was like your first, time that you were passionate about that music in that sense?
I was into it beforehand. Like my dad had like the Sugar Hill Gang record, the first hip hop record. He had all those records, so I would listen to those over and over. Mm-hmm. So that was one thing. I knew I liked it, but when I actually saw my cousin DJing, that's when all hell broke loose.
That's when you knew.
But then further than that, I had another cousin in New York, my cousin Paul and Raymond, who lived in Queens.
Okay.
So after my cousin in Toronto showed me about DJing, I would go down there every summer to check him out. Mm-hmm. And he was also a DJ. Him driving me by LL Cool J's house, and he lived like 3 doors down from Run DMC and Curtis Blow.
Damn.
They were all part of the same crew. So that was, then I knew for sure.
That must have been quite the experience, I would imagine.
That was it.
Describe that experience in general.
There's nothing like it. I mean, that's the beginning for me of hip hop.
Yeah.
I can still remember the records that I got from him that day. And then every summer I would go back, so then my dad knew that I was into it. So he bought me the Belle Biv DeVoe album and all that stuff in the 90s. So I already knew that I wanted to be a DJ. And then I met up with my friend Bryson in Kingston. When I moved to Kingston from Toronto, he was also into hip hop. And then we started doing dances and house parties.
Do you remember your first event?
Yeah, it was probably in my basement. I mean, we were doing stuff in my basement, but we had the first big event was held at the Polish Hall in Kingston.
Okay.
And we were young kids in grade 8 walking around handing out flyers. And
you're doing your thing.
We started back then, like all ages parties for me started in grade 8, grade 9.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. But further than that, like DJing is one thing, but to be honest with you, I gravitated to the marketing. Flyers, like for whatever reason, I would go downtown to play the record, and I would grab, before records, I'd be grabbing all the flyers with like Big Daddy Kane. I was just fascinated with marketing and promotion. So when I tell people I'm not just a DJ, I've always been marketing first. And the two go hand in hand. Even now, I don't think I'd still be here if I didn't know how to market. So
you have to have the skill to promote yourself, right? So
100%.
It's a very it's a big skill to have in that sense. So they definitely go hand in hand. I was gonna ask.
Go ahead.
Since you kind of already knew that you were gonna be a DJ, how did you come up with your name?
Well, the first name, I had so many names. The first name of our crew was Knights of the Turntables. So it was myself and Bryson. So that was the first name, and then we scrapped that, and then we were Third Base was another name that we had. Then I went to Extra Large Productions, because we were always a crew, like our high school crew. So then my DJ name was actually DJ Trevor.
Okay.
Right? But when I moved to Ottawa, there was already a Trevor Walker. So I went to Lenny P's party, shout out to Lenny P. And I went in there and I'm like, I'm DJ Trevor, I'm DJ Trevor Mason. And I saw on the flyer DJ Trevor Walker. I'm like, I can't have that name. So I'm like, my last name's Mason. And everyone in high school called me Mace the Ace, because we used to play a lot of cards. And I would always pull the ace of spades. So my name was Mace the Ace. And it wasn't until Ottawa I wanted to change from the C to the S, because my last name's actually Mason. But then there's Mace from Bad Boy, so I went with the C. And that's how it came.
Memorable. Definitely, right? What was it about music that we can say that drew you in? Like, I know you got you were listening to hip hop prior, and you know what, you've listened to house music and all that.
I think it's just in my blood. My dad is a huge music. He played bass guitar. He was in a soca band in Grenada. He started, what's the name of the crew? I can't remember the name of the steel band, but he started one of the first steel band groups in Grenada, in St. Paul's. So music was always in the house. Like, I was beaten with soca. Like, that's all I heard growing up, soca. Like, I'd be watching TV and my dad would just come take it off. And no, soca. So I went to, at the time it was house music. I learned how to DJ classic house first, but my love was always hip hop. So,
nice.
I mean, I knew I loved it just because it was always around. I love music.
Yeah, it'll always be around, right?
Yeah.
So,
What was some of the barriers you experienced or still do experience as an Ottawa DJ here, I would say? I'm sure there's a few of them there.
It's getting tougher now. In the beginning, like, again, with Kane and D-Train and even Cam, marketing was my strongest point. So when we came up with Ebby and Ivory, like, I think the marketing is what got us to where we were. Like, all the events that we had, the Topaz, 3,000 people, like, that didn't just happen overnight. Like, we had to come up with a game plan and marketing strategy. For some, it wasn't that hard. Like, I mean, when I started here, I would hand out my mixtapes, and Fletch heard it, and Fletch put me on to my first event. And then there's a guy named Fiaz who put me on to Blue Planet. But I knew I could DJ. But my marketing is what really.
How did you know that you needed to build that skill? Like, when was it? Like, you know what? Marketing is the way to go. Cause
I just, to be honest with you, that's something that happened in high school. And my mom could tell you this to this day. Like, she would think I'm in my room doing my homework, and she'd come in, and then under my homework, I'm sketching flyers, like designing flyers for events. So it's just something, like I told you, like, I would go to a record store and grab flyers before I grabbed the record. Just something just taught me about marketing.
You also were saying that it's getting tougher now. Which part that's getting tougher exactly?
Ottawa's, I mean, after COVID, Ottawa has changed a lot for me. I mean, before COVID, we were going strong. COVID hit for 3 years, and I think just everyone got comfortable being at home. Even myself, like, if I'm not DJing, I'm definitely not going anywhere. I just like to stay home, watch movies and whatever. So I think getting people out now, you have to be creative. And they're not just going to go out because people in our age demo, they've seen everything already. So we're not in clubs, right? I'm sure you've been around as well too. You've seen everything that's happened in Ottawa, and I'm sure you're bored right now.
People don't want to spend money, really.
That's right.
That's another thing too, right?
So for us, it's just about being creative with stuff like Carivibe, Reach the Beach. I mean, we've been doing events in Toronto. Focusing on the big events that mean something as opposed to just being out every weekend doing the same, like.
Speaking of which, how did you get into promoting it?
Promoting well, that came about, there's Denis over there.
Okay, yeah, that might be
Carivibe, Denis, do you want to come and talk about Carivibe? Before Carivibe, it was we had a party called Earthquake. So Earthquake was at Topaz, and it was always around Ottawa Carnival. So the real name of Carivibe was Earthquake, and we would do like 3,000 people at the Rideau Carleton Raceway. And then we were thinking of, you know what, we got to be, Toronto has Caribana. We wanted something to represent Ottawa. So we're like, Cari, Caribbean, and we knew that we had the vibe. So Carivibe, we scrapped Earthquake, then we had Rock the Block for a little bit, and then we just went straight, everything under the umbrella of Carivibe, and we made a weekend of it. So
that's actually pretty interesting, because I bet there's a lot of people that weren't aware that it was Earthquake beforehand, right? So that's good tidbit piece of knowledge to to have.
How long has it been in Carivibe itself? How long has it been gaming now? Like, I don't know, it's been at least more than.
Well, for sure 2000.
2000.
But like Earthquake was 98, 97, 98. And then we changed everything to Carivibe in probably 2000. So it's 23 years.
Quite some time. Okay.
I remember when it was, one time it was on Elgin Street.
Yeah, so that's before we even had Carivibe. That was Ottawa Fet Carib. So shout out to Wally and the crew. They had it before we.
Man, you know your history, eh?
But
that's good to hear.
I guess the city wanted more in a location where the would too much mess. That's with me in the street kind of thing.
Bob and because I live in Orleans, Dennis lives in Orleans as well too.
In those
So-
guys too. Everybody's
well,
Orleans.
So the city councilor at the time, we would reach out to him to get certain things taken care of.
Right.
And he said to us, why don't you guys move it from the Rideau Carleton Raceway to Peachtree Island?
Yeah.
I never heard of Peachtree Island before. And then he took us there.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This can work. So we
lot
moved
of
from the
potential.
racetrack. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. So Bob Manette was very instrumental in us moving Carivibe to the beach. But there's a lot of challenges
For sure.
I
at
would
the beach.
imagine.
It's not easy.
Speaking of which, what are some of the challenges that, kind of a twofold question, what are some of the challenges that you face as a DJ? But I also want to kind of get your perspective as a promoter as well. So,
Challenges here in Ottawa?
yeah, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face as a DJ in general that you find?
See, for me, it's again back to marketing and promotions.
Mhm.
If you watch from when I started in '96, 95 to now,
Yeah.
I rarely just played music. I really got hired to play. I mean, I do now as of late, but it was always our crew throwing our own parties.
Okay.
So we were able to develop a following for Ebony and Ivory
Yeah.
that was crazy. Like people just came because at that time they couldn't find venues. We would get like the nicest venues just because our crowd was nice. It was clean.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a marketing team, or is you just you're the marketing basically?
Use the marketing team. Let me take it for it, man.
I mean, I wish I did. I'm looking for that now.
Yeah.
We talk about it almost every day.
Right.
Because social media is a full-time job
It
in
would
itself.
save you a lot of time.
Oh my God, I wish.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that people were coming to. We had all kinds of different themes. I can't even name them off, but like Rewind was one, for example.
Right. Yeah.
Carnival en Blanc, the all-white party, like those things stuck with our brand. And then we were bringing down, like we thought, well, we didn't think, we knew at the time we were hot in Ottawa.
Yeah.
There were others as well. There's a lot of wicked DJs, but at that time,
Yeah.
it was Sound Crew. So there was us, and in Toronto there was Baby Blue Sound Crew, starting from scratch, Majest. So all of us from different cities would work together. Like we would be on Much Music religiously, just talking about events. Master T at that time hooked us up to be on there, so we just had doors open. I don't know what it was, but people just let us in.
Well, it's you build a reputation,
yeah,
right?
exactly
Once
what
you
it
build
was.
a reputation, it's easier to have more access,
That's right.
and it's networking in that sense too. So it's perfect, right? So it goes hand in hand.
But to your question, it wasn't really a problem for us to get a crowd out.
Yeah.
The biggest problem at that time was finding venues.
Yeah.
But
That's
you know,
It's still an issue in Ottawa
course,
when it comes to the venue itself there.
Location.
But you always had your own crowd, so that was, like you said, was never an issue. Is I feel like when it comes to Ottawa itself, it's hard to bring new people to come out and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
and get them out there and make them.
I would imagine post-COVID it would be, right?
Yeah.
Getting people
100%.
out
It's even worse
out of their
now.
homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I do know is you get to appreciate more the people that come out though.
Yeah.
100%. Like if you don't appreciate your crowd and give back, like partner Denis will get mad over there because I'm one for always hooking up my friends.
Yeah.
Like they've been supporting me from day one, so I'll be the first to say, yo, come through. Here's 10
pull up.
passes. Come on.
We're gonna get Denis to talk as well here.
Yeah.
But quick question, just for the heck of it right now. How did you guys meet up, by the way? I'm just always me and Denis, we know each other for a while now, but I knew you for a long time in advance of that as well. But it makes me wonder how did you guys met up yourself? I'm sure you got a little story for us there.
He could probably tell it better than me, but I know we just connected.
Dennis in the house.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Good to have you guys here. Thank you so
Always,
much,
always,
man.
buddy.
Thanks
Always.
for having me.
For sure. Good to see you, my man. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
So how long you and Denis know each other now?
So, Trevor and I have been doing events together for the last 25 years.
Okay.
So we met, ironically, in a barbershop. I was getting my hair cut, and the person that owned the barbershop said, "You two should get together." Because I used to bring bands from the Caribbean. Myself and another friend called Raul Williams,
Yeah.
but he passed away from cancer.
Okay.
So Trevor and I fusioned the two together, and it has been history since then. So 25 years is a long time
For sure.
in terms of a partnership. So we do have some form of synergy, I do all the logistics, the financial, he do the social media, so we complement each other in that way.
For sure.
How did you guys, like I know you guys came together overall with networking and meeting in the barbershop in that sense. How was it building that relationship, you know, just working throughout the years? Like 25 years is quite some time, and I know you've done that synergy overall. How were the first few couple of years, you know, working together?
Just passion. I think passion just takes over everything. When you like something, and he likes it as much as I do, it just works itself out. Like there were times he'll tell you that we shouldn't have done some of those parties. The expenses were way too high, but we didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't tell you how much we lost, but we've made a lot, we've lost a lot. But we took chances because we just wanted to do it.
Of course.
Right? So I think the passion's what's kept us together. Even now, it's not easy to pull off Carivibe at Peachtree Island. It's actually more difficult now than it was. All the expenses have gone up, but we're still here because we're passionate about the culture. Right?
The key to it also is that we are bringing it to the wider community. And I think we have such a rich culture that we sometimes don't value the culture that we have. And I think that some of the people in the wider community value our culture even more than we do. So we have to keep it out there. We have to get the younger generation involved, so we let the kids come to the beach, 12 and under, for free. Because if those are the future, so we definitely have to focus on that.
All right. Well, hey, let's talk about the big event.
Big events.
You guys have been, you know, promoting such a nice and fruitful event for Carivibe. Let's talk about it. Tell us a little bit more about the story about Carivibe and its history.
I'll give you the Coles notes. We'll try and make it. It's a long story, but
for sure.
If I can remember correctly, Carivibe started on the weekend of Fête Carib. So before Carivibe, there was Fête Carib. Shout out to Wally and his team, David Supersound. They would do Fête Carib every year in August 11th, 12th weekend. So we would always hold our big party, evening party that weekend. So we'd have our truck, and then we'd have a party. The big party that we started was Earthquake at the time. So Earthquake was the big party. We would do 2,500 people at Topaz, and then we moved it to the Rideau Carleton Raceway, and then we changed it to Rock the Block, it was called. So it was always happening. So year after year we would do Earthquake, and then we decided to change the name to Rock the Block. I think we had a party called Flight 2335, getting everyone on an airplane to come out to the racetrack. So the concepts were always going, but then we switched it and said, you know what, let's just call it Carivibe, because it was always on a Caribbean weekend, celebration of Caribbean culture. So Carib is Caribbean and Vibe is the vibe that we bring to the party.
Did you came up with the name itself, or was
Denis and I came up with the name.
Beautiful.
I mean, at the time I was always into, you guys would remember, Vibe magazine. So everyone had Vibe magazines. So I would see that Vibe all the time. I'm like, okay, let's put those two together. So Cari and Vibe.
Right. I have like this one big question, right? Like if you look at like Montreal, right, and you know the history between Montreal and the Caribbean community, right? And when it comes to the city and the Caribbean community went down there, they're not dealing too well. From if you looked at it from this year, it ended up not happening, right? So how did you keep having a good relationship with the city of Ottawa for the last few years? I guess that's the secret that everybody wants to know.
The secret is that the first 5 years is difficult. It was very difficult, but they want you to be able to come in and sell yourself. What are you doing? How are you going to put this festival on? Are you going to have police? Are you going to have a generator? Whatever you have, it all has to be planned out.
Right. And the other thing too is that, I mean, I'm not sure how Montreal does it or Toronto, but Denis will tell you, I joke around a lot, but when I stand up for something, like we don't take shit. So if they try and push us around, we want to be respected just like the Italian Fest, Lebanese Fest. Like we're here, Caribbean culture is here, so we want to be treated in a certain way, to the point where, I mean, he'll tell you, like I got into arguments with mayors and councillors, and I'm talking like full out just to get what we deserve, right? So you can't be a pushover. And we run our festival tight. We've knock on wood, we've never had a problem. So, I mean, they classify us as high risk, believe it or not. Like when we go into those meetings, they're like, well, you need 30 cops, and you need to pay this up front. But then we're like, you know, well, Escapade has people
that are farmers.
dying.
Yeah.
We've never had that. People
Overdosing.
overdosing.
Yeah.
And
No.
Blues
Literally,
Fest
yeah.
had people pissing and
Yeah.
defecating on
Causing-
lawns.
causing-
You know what I
It's
mean?
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny how you say that, but did you never came up with that question to them? Is that why did you classify us?
Oh, we already know.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
the
they
unspoken
say it in
law,
a
right?
subtle way.
And obviously,
High risk.
right?
Yeah.
What do you mean by high risk? They had to ask a fellow, a cop at one point. What do
Yeah.
you mean by high risk?
Yeah.
Just because we're black, we're high risk? So those type of generalization
Yeah.
and stigma of our community, I
Yeah.
think it's coming down now. So when we go into those meetings now, they actually respect us. So we don't get that type of hassles that we used to get. But
We
they-
had to prove ourselves too, but again, like I said, we've never had problem. People come out, they enjoy themselves, and that's what they want to see. They want to see safety,
Yeah.
and we have that, and the vibe is incredible. So, but we've had our challenges to get to this point for sure.
I would imagine, like any other business, but hey, you guys are doing something wonderful, right? You guys are getting a lot of people out there, and it's a good sight to see, especially after COVID, and especially people have been locked into their homes. It's a good way for people to get together and celebrate that Caribbean culture, right?
And you guys also dealing with a lot of crowds, a lot of the younger crowds, the older crowds. So I see like in different events, the different parties. Like you guys could talk about your merchandise that we have here with your beautiful shirt. I see you have the Bam Bear party as well. How did you get those beautiful shirts, by the way? Like,
How'd you come up with the design?
Yeah, the design and everything.
It's pretty dope.
Trevor do all these things.
My mom would catch me not doing my homework
Yeah.
and just sketching ideas that I
Yeah.
think will work for a party or a brand. So it comes across in the merchandise and like the OO Festival, and it's just in me.
Did you went to any schooling when it comes to marketing and design? Is that something you
No, I just
didn't
I
ever
taught
interested
myself.
you? Yeah, okay.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I wish because he'll tell you.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I didn't know how to put this stuff together, so
Right.
I would go to Bar Buzz, I would go to Capel in Toronto,
Yeah.
Boss Logo. I'd go to Almere in Quebec, and I would sit there. He will tell you. I said, Dennis, I'm going to go design. It wasn't me. It was me actually sitting with the designer. Do this, do that, and I would spend 6 and 7 hours designing all of our flyers.
Yeah.
But the bill was massive.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like we used to spend thousands of dollars in design. I said, no, this has to stop.
Yeah.
So I taught
Sometimes-
Got
myself.
to chill.
Sometimes $20,000 in cars.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
it's
ridiculous.
crazy.
Do you want to tell the public today, like, first of all, what time does the event starts, and when is it? We should start with that.
So it's this weekend.
Okay.
It starts on Friday at the 27 Club, a fete called Juve on York.
Okay.
So that's the kickoff to Carivibe weekend. We have a bunch of DJs, some steel pan artists.
Nice.
And then it goes to Saturday, which the first event is Reach the Beach from 12 till 9 p.m.
Okay.
on Petrie Island.
Right.
After that party, we go to the Bam Bam Block Party at Maxie's in Orleans from 10 till 3.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, he wanted to not do Sunday, but
Ah.
it's in the Byward Market. It's called Mango.
Okay.
So it's a food festival and music, and it's really just a line.
Is there
What is that?
any reason in particular you didn't want to do it on Sunday, Dennis? You don't want to manage. I'm not.
There's a few reasons I won't go into them.
It's a lot.
It's,
It's a
because
lot.
there's no
I don't
from
wanna put
Friday
you in
night
there.
till Sunday. There's no sleep.
Yeah,
Mostly.
I would
It's-
imagine. Yeah.
Because I'm on the beach all day on setting up. Then we have the event on Saturday. I'm at the beach at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Then we go to the event after. We're there till 3 in the morning. Then we have to pack up all the equipment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we have to be down at the next event at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And by the time we finish Sunday night, it's like midnight.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's endless. But there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. People see the finished product and they think it's easy. It's not easy. It's just that we're passionate about it.
For sure.
Which is
Would you
great.
would you ever grew your like you? I know you guys you're a business partner. Would you ever grew your business partner or have add another person?
100%. I mean, Andy's in the back there.
Yeah.
Andy also helps out with logistics and setup and stuff like that.
Right.
But we talk about it every year that we need to add people. But it always comes back to, okay, we just start doing it.
Yeah.
And then we complain, we need someone to do social media, we need this.
Right.
But we definitely need to start hiring some people to help us take on the load because
Delegation of
it's
tasks, right?
100%. Look at you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Look at the team, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
we have a
So
full team here.
you have to have.
I think
a team.
delegation is always from my point of view, it's
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
because I have it in my head, and then I have to explain it to somebody.
You have a
And if
vision,
you don't
right?
do it properly, you're very meticulous about it, then I end up having to do it.
Yeah.
So I figured, I do it myself.
Yeah.
But I would prefer to have someone else. You can give them a task, and you just
Right.
go about the task.
Yeah.
Well, we do. Don't get us wrong. We do. This year
guys
especially,
have-
we have a lot of people behind the scenes that are
Right.
really helping us move forward. But to grow to that next level, like Carivibe is good, but we want to get it to a higher level.
Yeah.
We definitely had to add. We have to add some more pieces to
Yeah.
make it work.
There's how many DJs at that day at the beach?
Probably 10
10.
DJs.
Okay.
Yeah, from 9 till
12 to 9.
12 to 9.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges? Like I know, as you mentioned actually, Dennis, if we get to see the end product, right? We get to see how it looks when it's all done.
Right.
We enjoy, we go home, right? You guys have a lot of work to do afterwards. What are some of the challenges that you face specifically, just building the event, right? Like getting everything sorted. Like I know you guys have setting up the DJs, getting up the music, having
Meetings.
volunteers. What are some of the specifics that you find that man,
So
this is
the
challenging?
challenges are in the logistics. So I'll give you a few examples. So we have a big event coming up. The police, you have to pay them up front. I've been speaking to them in the last 2 weeks. They said, we have only 2 officers who can work. So if that's the case, that actually puts your festival in jeopardy
Yeah,
because you have to have police.
for sure.
So they kept putting out emails, or you would have to increase your security. But we were able to get that solved. So that's a challenge. So you don't know. I only found
There's
out
always
yesterday.
curveballs being
Yeah.
thrown at you.
All right.
I would imagine,
You
yeah.
order stuff, and then they call back 2 days before. We don't have all the stock, so you have to find another supplier. So it's not without headaches, but it always gets done. I always say that. He doesn't like it. But it always gets done,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't always get done in a straight line.
Yeah.
So what would you say was your main headache for this year so far? Like one of the headaches you guys had to deal with this year that you're like, man, I wish that I didn't have to deal with that kind of thing.
For me, it's staging. They changed the rules on the size of stage that you can have and the legalities and the costs. So we usually have a 100-foot stage, the SL1?
Yeah, so that's
big
a-
stage.
Okay.
But they're making it so difficult now for us to get that same stage that we had to scrap. I mean, it's still going to look good,
Okay.
but that was a major challenge. Like it went from $5,500 to $20,000.
Ooh.
Plus, you have to get an electrician and
yeah.
structural engineer.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Yeah.
Right? So losing the stage to me was a problem.
Yeah.
And then obviously, people don't realize, but we've been rained out floods at Petrie Island
Yeah.
for 4 Carivibes.
Oh,
Right? So
that's
weather
Yeah.
is always a problem.
So we were rained out in 2018,
Yeah.
and it was flooded. We had 2 weeks to come up with an event, another plan. So we had to move it to 255 Central. And just 2 of us, we sat down for the whole day. Like, what are we going to do? We figured it out, and the event came off, and then it poured rain.
Yeah.
On top of that. So we have had some bad luck,
Yeah.
but we're
Yeah.
still here because we're so passionate that we will do it till we can't do it anymore. But the key is to have other people coming up that will carry forth the culture. That's what's important.
Speaking of which, what is if you don't mind me asking, Dennis, what is the most satisfying part of your job? Like building the entire event. Like, what makes you the most happy getting this done?
The end result. When I
Yeah,
see
so-
people on the beach, like sand,
Yeah.
that's what I like. That gives me pleasure.
Yeah.
And they're enjoying themselves,
Yeah.
and there's no problems, and families are there with their kids.
Yes.
That, to me, we have done a job for our community.
I like
I
that.
guess my question is, when you had those little issues with the flooding and whatnot, how did you adjust?
It's always on the fly. Actually, the first year that we did the beach, we had the parade. And it was okay. The parade was okay. And then just before we opened the gate, at about 5 to 12, it just started coming down.
Oh.
That was the first year. Rain like I've never seen before, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So he's holding his head, upset, and I'm calm. Because what are you going to do?
There's not much.
You can't do anything. You have to go on with it.
Yeah.
He's walking through the shopping center eating the ice cream. And I said, very calm, and I said, we are going to lose our shirt. We're going to have to remortgage our house. He was calm, and then we got to the beach, and at 2 o'clock, his dad looked at me and said, don't worry.
Be happy.
The sun came out. But even though it was raining, it was the first year, there were droves of people walking down to the beach
Yeah.
in the rain.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
Yes.
And just before we opened, the clouds just opened up and sunshine came through. But I mean, you can't stress about those things. Yeah, exactly.
But is the people that, you know, when it comes to Carivibe itself, you're dealing with people that just love music, love being there, rain or shine, they're still gonna be there and minister like how happy they are.
Yeah.
So I don't think, obviously, you know, hot water is always always key, but in the end of the day, like, it won't stop for them being there. So that's why I always enjoy being in those type of events there.
I appreciate you coming out too. I think a lot of the reason that people come out to Carivibe, like, as you guys know, Ottawa is a very tough market for anything.
Yeah.
For businesses, you name it, Ottawa's market's not like Toronto,
Right.
and it's not like Montreal. So there's people from here that'll go to Toronto and talk about how great it is in Montreal, but at the end of the day, they do want to see something happen here. Like, we can't be all living here and not have our own version of a Caribana or a money, you know. So Carivibe is that to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it definitely brings out people and people have a good time.
Of
So,
course.
I think one of the things that even got me more passionate about Carivibe,
Yeah.
I had a friend that was working in Singapore. He's Trinidadian, and he used to live in Ottawa. And he called me one day and he says, Denis, can you book a hotel for me in Toronto? I says, okay. It was at Delta Chelsea, probably about 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I called Delta Chelsea and they said to me, yeah, it's caught, and the price was like triple.
Right.
And they said you have to wear a bracelet. You cannot bring any person to your room. And I says, like, what other culture would they do that to? And I have never gone to Caribana since. I haven't been to Caribana in 30 years because I believe our people weren't getting anything out of it. We're sweating in the streets, and all the vendors and the hotels are making money. I says, how are we selling our culture?
Yeah.
This is our culture, and we're getting zero out of it. And I says, I told him, I called him back in Singapore, and I says, you have to book that hotel yourself. I can't, honestly, in a conscience, book a hotel that they're putting bracelets on us like if we are common dogs. No, so he called and booked the hotel himself.
Yeah. That's, it makes sense. You gotta. I hear you on that one.
I guess
that's actually deep.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I guess, and what I would say when it comes to that event itself, in 4 or 5 years from now, how do you see that the event itself expanding?
it's a very good question. It's hard to see that because, I mean, we know where we want it to be. I mean, the beach itself holds a large amount of people. Like, it's endless. We could do 10, 20,000 people on Petrie Island. It's just getting to that point and figuring out expenses ahead of time. And the other thing, too, is for us to grow in our market,
Right.
we have to be able to charge our worth.
Yeah.
A lot of times in Ottawa, for the Caribbean culture, we undercharge. You go to Toronto, they're charging, if this were Toronto, this event would be $120 easy.
Yeah.
We're charging $15 in advance and $25 at the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, and we got expenses like crazy, just like in Toronto. So the mentality here is we're going to have to change it ourselves. If you want to come to something like this, you're going to have to pay accordingly. We're not going to gouge, but for us to grow, we have to be able to make money to pay more people and get more people involved. So we definitely see it growing, but we have a few things that we need to adjust on our end to get it to that level.
I mean, we charged $10 for a number of years.
Yeah.
We bought Sanchez,
Barrett's Hammond.
Barrett's Hammond.
Yeah.
We charged $10 because we wanted as many as our people to see. But they says, oh, we're coming out, and then they don't come out. They says there's nothing in Ottawa. But there is things in Ottawa, but you just have to take the opportunity to come and enjoy it.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
and that is very true. And that's what we're also trying to promote and build Ottawa too, right? We have this podcast to trying to give people a platform,
Which is amazing.
which is a way for people, to network, right?
I think that's the key word, like the networking of people in the city who are, like, you guys are doing amazing things.
We appreciate
So
it.
once we get together with people like yourselves and other people that are doing things, we can grow.
Yeah, we
And
can
that-
grow as a
yeah.
community, and it's a way that, hey, man, I'm excited for the future, right?
Yeah.
The future's always ahead, right? So we're always looking at the next day as to how we're gonna build
That's right.
as a community. So I'm excited to see how it's gonna go in general. And you know what? We're talking a whole lot about how this event's gonna go. Tell us a bit more about this history. I don't think we kind of,
This history?
yeah, the history of just the entire program overall.
The
for
event,
Carivibe.
yeah.
Like,
Carivibe itself.
you mentioned that
So
it
what-
started off as an earthquake.
So when would you say is the first year of Carivibe?
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
2000, well,
To
I like to say 98 because even though it was called Earthquake at the time, it didn't change the dimensions of the festival itself. So I would say 98 it actually started. 2000 officially with the name change.
Yeah.
But I mean, your friend over there said he went to the one in 2009. So, but yeah, and again, it just, like Topaz, I mean, people struggle now to get 200 people out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine back in 98, you're getting 2,500 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unheard of. People trying to jump the fence. We had to get,
Oh,
I'll tell
yeah.
you, we had to get dogs from Montreal. I mean, I didn't want the dogs. I didn't, but the security company came with dogs because they could not control
Yeah, the amount of people.
It was madness.
But I think the concept brought people out.
Yeah.
Because you pay one price,
Yeah.
you could listen to Haitian music in one room, reggae music in another room, and then we had a band from Barbados called Square One.
Yeah.
And we had thousands of people lined outside that couldn't get in.
Yeah.
So if we had a bigger place, we would have had at least 5,000-6,000 people.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so those were exciting times. Still exciting now,
Yeah.
but just in a different era.
Yeah.
It is.
It must have been, so the different era would have had different challenges. I would
Correct,
imagine.
yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest from back then to now? What would you say the main? How would you say that?
The main challenge?
No, yeah, the main challenge, or not the biggest difference.
Yeah.
So the biggest difference to me
Mm-hmm.
is that the people that used to come out in those days,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're older now too, right?
Right.
So we don't have that younger demographics like we used to, even though we get it for Carivibe. But that, to me, people moved away.
Mm-hmm.
But there was thousands of people.
Okay.
We used to have
From
three.
young and old though, from
Yeah.
like 19 all the way up to 65. I
Yeah,
think.
we
You've
used to
had-
have 3 parties in one night.
A bigger demographic.
Yeah.
you know.
So that
Question.
demographic has shrunk.
Yeah. Question for you: How has technology had an impact in that sense overall? Like
Tremendous.
Yeah, like
Tremendous.
I could
Yeah.
start on that. We used to print, and he used to get upset, but I was a flyer guy. Again, back to promotion, right? So we would have 100,000 flyers, boxes.
Yeah.
And then we would have a street team of about 30. We went to every Tuesday night movie theater. We were doing parking
Oh,
lots,
that's
we were
smart.
doing polls, we did the market. Every night, we're tagging cars.
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning, all of us. Andy was probably there as well too. Putting up every pole, like we got in trouble. Like if you wake up in Orleans now, there's nothing. But back then, on a night like tonight, we covered from Trim Road up to Innis, down Innis. You would see a Carivibe
Oh, for
post
real,
on,
eh?
and we would get in trouble. We get a call from the city after saying, "You guys got to take that's too much." But we went overboard. But now we don't do that. I don't leave everything's on social media.
Yeah.
So
That's
But I miss that personal touch.
yeah.
Yeah.
We used to
True.
go into stores, we'd meet people on the street, talk to them about it. But that
It's still
personal,
work.
I think
you have to do it.
I think it's you need a balance, right?
Yeah, I would imagine, but I hear that it's on this one, right? Because if you have that personal touch, you're doing networking, right?
But you know what?
People get to know your face.
That's
and
right.
Yeah,
But people like to be recognized.
Yeah,
And sometimes we sit behind a computer and you don't have that same emotion.
It's not
people
interpersonal.
people
Yeah.
are meant to be personal.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why the pandemic killed a lot of people's emotions.
Yeah.
Because they're stuck inside. They're not able to, even though they're online,
It's not the same.
that personal touch is important.
We used to personally walk up and down St. Joseph and Orleans on both.
Yeah.
He would take the left, I would take the right.
Mm-hmm.
And we would stop in every store on St. Joseph and say, hey, Carivibe's coming. Either sell a ticket or give out a ticket.
You want
We haven't done that in 5 years.
Yeah.
Not because we don't want to, it's just easier to just,
Yeah,
pull
it's
it out.
different. It's a whole different era, right? Technology's, everyone has access to a phone, so it's so easy to just send a quick text or
I
send
mean,
a
people
quick
don't even
post.
leave home with cash anymore. Everything's
Yeah,
on their
that's it.
phone or credit card,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's a different era.
For sure. Yeah, very true.
You were saying on Saturday, who's gonna be at the which club you guys were gonna be at
the first event is on the Friday at Juve.
Juve, and who's gonna be performing there?
Off my head, it's The Enforcers from Toronto, DJ Kevin,
Okay.
Kid Cut, Production Sounds,
Okay.
DJ Vic, Mr. Pong, myself,
Right.
and one or two others.
So
And-
strong lineup.
Strong line.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, off your head again.
On the beach, Steph Honey, DJ Karayan, Sammy Soka, Carnival Bay are hosting, Kevin, Soka Sweetness, myself, who else is there?
Up and Gone.
Up and Gone, big up Up and Gone. He's a future. He needs to come in here and definitely do an interview.
Yeah.
DJ Up and Gone will be down there. DJ Titus,
Massive.
Massive Vibes will be there. I don't think he's DJing, but he'll be there.
I guess one quick question when it comes to the DJ community and whatnot, and how everybody's working together. It seems to get this thing going. Have been any type of issue when it comes like people working together, or when it comes to when it comes to the DJ community as well? Sometimes and it could get hard. But I'm
So
sure.
you're talking about like tension between DJs?
Yeah, tension or like different
Sounds.
setup or different timing, for example, or people want to do different events because there's only one stage, right? So sometimes people want to do one thing and the other one person don't want to do the other thing. For one, I know when different DJs and stuff, sometimes
Yeah, I mean, the scheduling is always tough.
All right.
I mean, I had a call today. Why am I on at 12? It's just we have
want
so
the prime time.
many. There's so many DJs, and we have to prioritize for skill, obviously,
Okay.
and the vibe of the party. Like he'll tell you, the vibe of the party has to be right.
Right.
And I'm a stickler for that. Like, we wouldn't be here now.
Well, that's the thing for me, because let's be honest, you know these guys personally, right?
Yeah.
So how do you make these cuts and say, hey, no, you're gonna be at noon and you're gonna be at 2 p.m. and by the way, I'll see you at dinner tomorrow.
most guys, like if they understand, the guys that really are professional get it.
Get it.
If they know, okay, I just started, and Soka Sweetness has, you know what I mean? Like,
You have a
it's-
schedule, right? I
That's
would
right.
imagine like, hey,
Yeah.
you guys have been doing this for years, so
Yeah.
for years, and we also have different events that some of the guys that are playing at noon,
Yeah.
when they come to Bam Bam, they're playing prime time
Yeah.
most of the night. So
Yeah.
on a Carivibe weekend, yes, it's tough, but they respect
it's
it.
a
Yeah.
matter of priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also, even though they might feel slighted, they're on the big stage.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're
Yeah.
in front of thousands of people that they normally wouldn't get to be in front.
It's an
So
opportunity.
that to me is a plus for them. It's promotional for them also.
It's
If
an
they go on and they
opportunity.
play well, whether you're on at 12 or at the end, it's still good for you.
100%.
You will not be able to get across to those people in any, you may
Yeah.
over years, but in one shot, I think it gives them great opportunity.
But
So-
we do get a lot of flack though because we like to stick to a formula that works.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can't put everybody on it.
Right.
And yes, we get a lot of flack. How come I'm not on it? We get a lot of that. But
Yeah.
I could say the same thing for the guys that are asking to be on it. I'm not on your event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
From music and entertainment, what people really want to know, guys like me and Sosa, what about the food? We want to know about the food, right?
Yeah, that was actually
see,
my
you
next
just said that, and I instantly got hungry.
Facts. Hey, man, you can't go wrong.
Obviously,
What type of food are we to expect though at the event? Essentially,
it.
is what we're getting to.
and what kind of drinks we were dealing with here?
I'll do the food.
Yeah.
Do the drinks. The food, he'll tell you, top notch. It has to be, like, I mean, if it's a roti, it has to be a roti. Like a real roti. Jerk chicken, it has to be authentic jerk chicken.
Okay.
Doubles, whatever. So we have a few good vendors from Ottawa, some from out of town as well too. Woe Neighbor is one.
Okay.
Trinidadian, Cyrone Edwards, they're from Trinidad.
Big shout out.
Shout out to them. Their food is amazing.
Okay.
We have Fire Foods, they're from Jamaica.
Big shout out.
Mango was supposed to be in the Haitian restaurant. I'm not sure what.
Oh, Mango from downtown?
Yeah, they didn't have enough staff.
We really wanted them.
Yeah, Mango is fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out.
But we have, what are the other ones that we have?
I have a young lady, she's only 21 years old. She's at Ottawa University. She plays on a rugby team.
Okay.
But I applaud her and I try to give her as much exposure as possible. She just started, it's called Afro-D. It's a fusion between African and Caribbean food.
Yeah,
So,
very good food.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward for her being on the beach, being exposed and other people. The food is very good. Yeah.
Hey, you're giving her an opportunity, right?
Yes.
Giving her opportunity to build her brand. And in that sense, that's...
What
And
you
the
just
drinks,
said,
the drinks will be
Yeah,
there.
the drinks, We're
What- what you just said is about the brand. That's the key to everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Once your brand is good, people will follow you.
For sure.
Which is, it ties back into, like, it's totally okay for you guys to charge more for your events because you guys have built that following. You guys have people that, that have seen your work, that have gone through your events throughout the testament of time, and they realize, like, hey, you know what? You're right. Like, you guys can definitely charge more. Although nobody wants to hear that, let's be real, but you guys can definitely charge more for an event because you guys have earned that right for all the work that you've done, right? You
That
guys
point
have you guys
that
have
you-
put Ottawa on the map at this point.
That point that you bring to the forefront is very important.
Yeah.
I think it's our mindset that try not to charge them more. But what annoys me about that scenario is that they go to Escapade, they go to Blues Fest, they pay all sorts of money. They will come to the beach, they will listen to the music from outside, even though it's $10. They will open up the back of their car and they will have their own drinks.
Yeah.
So all of those things, we as the people overall, we have to kind of shelve some of those bad
We should
habits.
do better in general.
We have to
We have to support each other.
Yeah,
We have to
exactly.
help each other.
In order to promote, it's, hey, we're all Caribbean in one
So,
sense, we're all,
Before we get going there, let's
you know where I'm going at,
Yeah,
right?
no, no,
Yeah.
You were saying about when it comes to the drinks itself. Did you guys? I know when it comes to liquor license and whatnot, it's always you could get could get some kind of difficulties with the city and whatnot. And this year as well, what drinks are we dealing with this year?
You're going to have Ciroc, which is, you have a few flavors, mango,
Yes.
peach. So, I mean, that's usually a number one drink that most people like. And this year we're adding a VIP section so
Okay.
people can get bottle service.
Oh, yeah.
So that to
Oh,
me
okay.
people will, they like that.
You know, your Casamigos or your Hennessy.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah. All that stuff is going to be.
Yeah, we have it all this year.
If you don't mind me asking, whose idea was it? Like the VIP section in general.
Pardon me?
Whose idea was it to have VIP section?
Dennis and Paul,
Oh, okay.
Paul Williams.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Paul Williams. He's an amazing logistics bar manager. You'll see a big difference this year.
Yeah.
Very meticulous, and he gets things done. You ask him to do something, he will take it another mile. And that's what you want. You want somebody you can give a task, but they also see things that you may not see and add to what you.
It's understanding your vision, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Speaking of which, because you kind of spoke about delegation of tasks in that sense. How do you find that? How do you find, because delegation would be hard in that sense if you're saying that you have a vision in general. Do you find it hard to pass on that vision to other people in general?
It can be difficult, but there's some people that get it. We have a guy that had me working with us, he's at Carleton University, a guy called John Nelson. You can give him a task, and you know it's going to get done. You don't have to tell him twice.
Yeah.
And he will do more than you ask. There's a few people like that, and there's some other people. We have a young lady now called Cassandra, who has a company called Time Management.
She's the one that did the Block Business Expo.
Very good.
Amazing.
Yes,
She's amazing.
okay, yes.
Hey
So-
guys, go ahead. I'll let you finish that.
Yeah, so we're trying to create some synergy for some of
Yeah.
these other groups,
Yeah.
so that we can get bigger and blossom more.
Yeah, it's small.
It's just about finding the right people.
Yeah.
As you guys have a team here. You're all like-minded, right? So if you can add that piece of the puzzle, then everything works great.
Yeah, whatever.
But sometimes we've brought in all kinds of people, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't work
It just
out because their vision is not the same as ours.
It doesn't
right?
click.
Guys, when it comes to the team and whatnot, we appreciate you guys. I know you guys are doing well a lot of meetings this time around, and we appreciate you guys for coming as well. And just before we leaving as well, what would be on the lookout for?
There's a lot coming down the
Yeah,
pipe.
yeah.
I mean, Carivibe is one thing. I mean, we'll come back and talk about
sure.
OO Festival and
Yeah, and
the
all
different
good
events
stuff.
that we have coming down the pipe. But look out for Carivibe. And Carivibe Jamaica, we didn't even touch on Carivibe Jamaica.
Right.
We went down there last year with 100 people from Toronto and Ottawa.
Right.
And it's always at the Rio Hotel Super Bowl weekend. So we plan on growing Carivibe outside the market. Carivibe Jamaica will be the second year this year. And then, I mean, when I say 100 came from Toronto, Ottawa, but down there,
Gotcha, yeah.
there's over 3,000 or 4,000
So,
people on the resort.
Are you guys leading this festival?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us about your experience.
So last year was in February, right?
Yeah, February, Super Bowl weekend, so
Okay.
Yeah,
whatever
February.
long weekend that is. But
How was it like? Okay, so this year's going to be the second year that you guys do. Tell us about your first year. How did you guys set that up over there in general?
I go to Jamaica a lot,
Okay.
so I used to go to this hotel a lot, and I got to know a lot of the managers and stuff from there. And they found out what I did and how we DJ and stuff back home. We were studying
Yeah.
what we were doing. I just asked them, I said, would you guys be interested in us bringing people down here and setting Carivibe Jamaica up? And he'll tell you, like, they said
Yeah.
yes to everything.
Really?
They saw it, and then they're like, 'cause
Yeah.
I would tell them, like, there's no way they're gonna let us come down and take over this resort
Like money.
and brand it and DJ. And
Yeah.
the guy, because you know Jamaica, yeah, man, everything's cool. I can't take that because I need to know that it's
Is that
gonna
a
get
yes
done.
or a no? Yeah.
And it was all on WhatsApp with Jamoy. Shout out to Jamoy in Jamaica. I'd ask him a question. Yeah, man, don't worry. Like I'm meticulous. My list is like 50 things that I need done, and he would just respond saying, "Yeah, man."
Yeah, cool.
So I'm like, okay, Dennis, I don't know how this is gonna go, but he said yes. So we went down there, and everything that we asked for was laid out perfectly. So
Dennis, if you don't mind, tell us a bit about your experience. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience over there in general. Like, how did you set-
Unfortunately, I didn't go.
Okay.
Oh,
My
okay.
father-in-law died the same week.
Sorry.
So yeah, so he was 89 and I was taking care of him, but I was living the dreams through Trevor. He would send me the
Trevor.
pictures and the videos, so it was like if I was there, but
Yeah.
I'm not missing it next year.
You wanna?
It's good to hear.
I want to hear about the package. Can we talk about the package a little bit from last year's package there?
yeah, so I mean, I think it came out to $2,300 per person.
Okay.
That included your flight, your hotel room, all your food, all your drinks. You paid a little bit extra if you wanted like the boat cruise and stuff like that, but it's
Yeah.
all inclusive. So if you add that up to what you would have spent day by day,
Yeah.
it's a fantastic deal. And the Rio Ocho Rios is
Top notch.
one of the nicest hotels you'll ever see in
You
Jamaica.
know what? Me and the crew are looking at each other right now. We're like,
No, you guys have to come.
Yeah.
Like,
sounds
and bring this too.
we get the media, doing the podcast, and everything.
Oh,
But-
for
but
sure.
This is good exposure for you guys. If you guys can go down there and be live from down there, I mean that to me,
That would be crazy.
yeah, that's
That'd
great.
be insane.
that
We're
would
gonna
be
make.
absolutely
Let's
fantastic.
work on making that happen.
I would love to.
Yeah.
That would be a great opportunity, to be quite honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.